Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Friday Doodles. I am going to do a little bit of head drawing today, or face drawing. Um, I'm always learning, so I'm definitely not perfect at this, but I have really enjoyed learning how to draw faces over the years. I remember as a kid, I would get so frustrated that when I drew a face, it just didn't look right. So when I finally learned the measurements and where things should go, it helped me a lot. And it's still something I am constantly practicing. So we're going to kind of go through what I know, and I'm clearly not an expert. So, don't be too critical, but I enjoy doing this. So let's see how we do at doing some head drawing here. I have just a piece of scratch paper here and my school pencil and an eraser. If you have drawing pencils, those are great. But I always like to start with just doing a really light circle. So light you can't see it. So I'm going to go a little darker, but as you go, make it so light that you can erase it really easily if you need to. It's not a circle, it's an oval. So make it oval, just kind of a head shape. That's what I like to do. And then really lightly, I draw a line down the center to break it in half. So our faces are symmetrical. So really there's kind of a line that goes down your face and you have parts on either side. And then we are going to break it in half the other way too. Right down the middle, draw another line. Okay, so this is actually at the 1/2 mark. That is where the eyes go. And when I was a kid, when I would draw, I was always put the eyes up here. And actually, I was putting them on the forehead. No wonder my faces looked odd. I didn't realize that your head is proportioned where your eyes are right smack in the center between your chin and the top of your head. So that's where your eyes are going to go. Now, you use eyes for measuring almost everything on the face. So once you establish where you want the eyes on the face, then those eyes measure almost everything else. So the eyes, let's just say, I like to just say, okay, I'm going to make the eye that big. Now, that is the size of the other eye, obviously, but it also is the distance between our eyes is one eye width. So if I were to measure that eye width and go from that corner to that corner, then this is where the other eye would start. There's my eye width. I'm going to go to there. I went a little too far. And so, and being that I just guessed at this, it makes my center line a little off. So I'm going to have to recorrect that, but you get the idea. So there's one eye width and our other eye width. So there I'm going to have my other eyes, and there should be one more eye width to the outside of your circle. So my circle's a little wide, but that's why I drew it lightly, because I can fix that later down the road. So an eye is kind of an almond shape. If I was actually looking at a picture of somebody, or I was trying to do a self-portrait of myself, I'd be looking in the mirror and trying to match my shape of eyes exactly. But we're just going to go with a standard kind of football almond shape for now. And drawing it lightly, let's just go ahead and make those almond shape for your eyes, okay? Now, the circle of your irises and pupils go next. So you're going to notice that when you look at my eye, you cannot see a full circle. So some of that circle would actually go up here above the eye. We're not going to draw that part. You can draw that part if you want. If you need to make a better circle, you can draw it and then erase the top half of that circle. Sometimes that's what I like to do too, make a full circle and then just erase the part that can't be seen. So there's the iris. I'm going to darken it a little bit. And then the pupil is in the middle. One thing about when you draw anything, you need to establish where you want your light source to be coming from. So let's pretend that this is the direction that the light is coming from. So that will help us later on down the road. So there's our eyes. Now we take that eye width, and another easy thing to do is to just take the bottom half of the face, and let's just go from that line to the chin and break that in half. So here's about half. And that is about where the nose is going to go. All right. It's about 2 eye widths down, 1.5, depending on the face. You can always measure a person's eye width and then measure down to you're basically going to this little under part of the nose there. And then you're going to notice that from the center of right here at the corner of your eye, it matches up with the outside of the nose. So if we come down from the corner of the eye, that's about where the width of the nostrils are. So we'll just kind of do a little bit of a whoop there. And then we can just fill in. We need to let our person breathe. So we fill in the nostril there so they can breathe. And then there's the width of the eye. And erase those lines because that makes him look like he's got, you could even draw like a little, there's just actually the light's coming from the other side. So we need to draw maybe this side of there we go. Now if we break this in half, well, there's the nose. And if we go from between the nose to the chin again, and it's about half again between those two, that's the center of the lips right there. So maybe we'll just do this type of thing out to the lips. And the lips usually come, if you go to the corner of the lips, it usually lines up with about the center of the eye. So you can kind of say, let's just guess that that's where it's going to go to. About there. So that's the center of my lips. I'm going to add an upper lip. And you know what? Sometimes it makes your lips look really fake if you draw every line. So you don't always have to draw every line on the lips. Sometimes you just have to draw this middle and then shade a little bit to show that you have the lips there. You can definitely see that I am just winging it, and I'm kind of drawing sideways here so it's straight on my picture. So there we have just the basics of the eyes. We have the eyes, the basics of the face. We have the eyes. Now, one thing we need to give this person is eyebrows. Now, if I look at myself, my eyebrows are kind of right. Let's see how big my eyes would be, like an eye width up from me is my eyebrows. So another eye width we use, and also another measure, your nose kind of bends like this and it comes up and it makes the eyebrow line. So we have this little eyebrow line. I'm just going to draw some basic eyebrows, nothing fancy here. You can go with the shape that you think, and I'm kind of filling that in pretty dark. That will give them eyebrows. That definitely helps. Now I'm going to erase a few of these lines that I have on here. Of course, this pencil doesn't even have an eraser, so I'm going to erase a few lines here so we can start to get the idea of what this looks like. Okay, so now for the hair, we have to keep in mind that, again, hair doesn't grow right on the eyebrows. If we were to take between the eyes and the top of the head that we drew, your hair is about halfway. So I'm going to just kind of cut that top in half, and that's about where our hairline is. And up here, all of this is just the top of our head that's covered with hair. So if you're a guy, you can draw like a hairline like this. Maybe I have a part there. If you're a girl, you can draw your hair whoop. So we're kind of giving ourselves a hairline there. Now, the other thing that we need to have are ears. And a lot of times when you look straight on somebody, we often draw ears and we draw them little like that. Well, ears are actually pretty long. They go about from the bottom of the nose up to the eyebrow. So if we were to draw ears, we would kind of draw them from the nose line to the eyebrow line. And depending on whose face we're looking at, We're just going to draw some flat ears on the side of the head for now. So for this one, we already figured out that my eye width is right here. So I need to slender in the face a little bit there. And here also, bring the face in a little more. And then maybe we can bring the chin line down to the chin a little bit more. And then straighten out this head curve. Maybe we need a little more rounded head than just a pointy head. And his hair kind of comes up like this, and it goes down to like that. And a lot of times they have, men or guys have like a sideburn right here too. One thing that I would get frustrated with a lot of times with hair is I would try and sit here and fill in every hair. Well, it kind of ends up making a person look bald if we don't have every single hair in there. And then it gets way too busy if we have every hair. So it's better to just put shapes of hair in there and add maybe a few waves so you can tell the direction of the hair instead of every single hair. Just kind of give us the idea. And maybe this guy's hair comes down a little bit under his ears. Now, as the neck grows, for men, usually their neck comes out a little wider than women. So since I'm drawing a guy here, I will. But for women, you'll notice my neck kind of comes down at the corner of my eye. Men, maybe it's a little wider. So let's just give him a little thicker neck like that. And there's usually like a collarbone. You don't have to draw that, but it kind of just gives you the shape. And then it'll come out. And then there'll be, maybe he's got a t-shirt right there that shows on his. So there we have his neck. We can erase his collarbone a little bit. So there we have our basic face. Kind of funny looking, I know. And one thing I like to do now is I'm going to just do this in marker to kind of show it a little darker. But I like to start shading in with the light. So one thing that makes a person look alive more than anything is a little catch light in our eyes. The light will reflect off our eyes. And so since the light's coming from this direction, I'm going to make the catch light in his eyes on this side. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a light there on both eyeballs and then fill that in. Okay, maybe he's got a little bit of a, and when you start drawing people specifically, maybe they have a bunch of wrinkles, and to add in a few of those wrinkles will make it look like them. Maybe they have a birthmark or a dimple, and it makes it look a little bit more. I totally just gave him major connected eyebrows. Don't do that. I'm just trying to darken it a little so you can see a little bit better without the pencils. All right, so here we have this person's face shape. Ears. There's like a little bit of usually have a piece of the ears going there. Here's his sideburns. And his hair comes down a little bit down there. His t-shirt, shoulders. All right, so I just darkened it just for you to get an idea. So there you go. Pretty funny. I didn't even make his neck completely symmetrical, but there is a basics of drawing the face. So from the top of the head to the chin, we split it in half right here for the eyes. And then we split the top half in half for the hairline. We split the bottom half in half for under the nose. We split this part in half again for the middle of the lips. And then we measure everything with these eye widths too. A lot of times I'll use 2 fingers, and I'll do 2 fingers for the eye, 2 fingers down, the nose, the middle of the eye, the corner of the eye is the width of the nose, the middle of the iris is about the width of the lips. Pretty funny looking with all those lines, but they helped me a lot. And if you just practice over and over again getting those proportions right, as you start to actually draw people and what they look like, it'll be a lot easier to map out their faces. So have fun and good luck.